Hey everybody, it's Dr. Quinn here, and I'm recreating a video because my other video wasn't working, that goes over sort of discussion content for writing assignment number 5, right? So in this section of our technical writing class, I think some students may be surprised to find that we're focusing on personal documents that are used in a professional space, but the idea is that we've applied already technical writing concepts of like instructional documents and the creating of the personas and quick start guides and internal reports, because often technical writing is still writing to people that you know. Now, we're talking about documents to writing to people that you don't know, ways of like selling yourself and using, at least in writing assignment number 5, this content to be able to sell yourself in a way to get to the place where you can meet people in person. And so those part concepts are going to become really important, and this is also an opportunity for students to get that personal benefit from the course content. And so a lot of our students who are at UMGC are already in their career fields, and they're getting these degrees to sort of move up the chain, right, for promotion, and other people are career switching. And so resumes or CVs are documents that, depending on your field, some resumes are 1 to 2 pages. Some resumes are 7 to 10, just depending on if there's somebody's moving into like the C-suite. So the things that you can focus on your resume and cover letter, often really significantly, in the depth that you go into, depends on your field. Note that in week 5 under learning resources, we've got material just as a like overview and notes on both the resumes and cover letters, and you'll see in here real nice sort of backgrounding and discussion of different types of resume formats. And so depending on who you're applying to, for example, if you're applying to the federal government, you would perhaps consider what usajobs.gov highlights and what they want in those formats. But if you're working in the private sector, there may be other considerations. Those action verbs that we focus on a lot, we focused on the imperative in instructions, but now we're focusing a lot on language. So you'll see in technical writing that there's this carryover in focusing on particular types of language and consistency and parallelism with language. For example, in the feedback that I'm going to give students on their resumes, when I look at your drafts, because there's a draft requirement for this assignment, I'm going to make sure that any job you had that's not current, you use the past tense. But any job that's current, you use the present tense, aligns, chairs, controls, coordinates, just for that internal document consistency, for that element of precision that technical writers carry with them as part of the work that we do. So not only will you be able to go over formats and different things to remember and do's and don'ts. Let me show you. I did a little quick resume search, and you can see all sorts of visual samples of resumes on the web. Let's just take a look at this one visually. It's not exactly a 2/3, 1/3 split, but you can kind of see that it's like 60%. It's like a 2-column setup with work experience and education on the left, with languages, with some sort of like, it's not exactly a bar graph, but it's like a dot graph. I'm not sure how effective this visually actually is, because we don't know the measurement of what these numbers actually mean. But if there's some sort of like scoring system, so for example, if this person was proficient at English or highly proficient, you could say, highly proficient written, proficient verbal, that kind of thing, I think would be much more specific and effective. Having a skills section, having your organizational and your honors and conferences, this is great. Like, this is very text specific, and I actually think avoiding images of yourself on your resume is probably a good thing. So we can get a lot from looking at different resume samples. Here's another one. This is somebody who has less data, so there's a little bit more white space on there. Name is prominent, and that's really good. The color blocking is fine. There's a lot of nice contrast. There is a good alignment here. One of the things that I would recommend that somebody avoid from a resume, though, is references available upon request. That's understood. You don't need to say it, strip it out. I would also avoid your date of birth, because for older applicants, we have to worry about ageism legitimately. It's a sad reality. but I would absolutely avoid date of birth. And say, for example, you're coming back for a second degree. I would avoid, if you got your first degree, my first degree was in 1995. So that was when I graduated college. If I was to apply for another job, I probably would strip out that date and just have those degrees and certifications and things like that. Certifications in a technological capacity could perhaps age one as well, but you absolutely want to list them. There's something to be said about having a lot of experience, but to tailor a resume for the realities of the situation we're moving into. In addition to some of the discussions and feedback that everybody's going to get from me on resumes, you're going to get information from me on cover letters. You'll see that there is the purpose of it is a prose way of you selling yourself, of you creating a compelling story that explains or contextualizes data points already within your CV or your resume. This sample of an experienced one is somebody that already has a lot of experience. When you do your cover letter, you will not need a title. And my recommendation is do what's called modified block format. Take all this information over here and just put it right here instead. And everything is really nicely aligned. You'll want to have a specific address to the person or group you're applying for. If it's a USA Jobs, federal government position, you can just have the department and their address. Find their address, even if it's not on there. That's a level of that's a detail that's useful. Address it to a specific person, not Mr. or Mrs. or to whom it may concern. Or if you don't know and they don't tell you, identify the department that's hiring. Dear Department of Energy Hiring Committee for Programmer. Whatever specifically it is, I think that will be accurate. You can write in first person. Usually do an opening with your experience. And if you're a career switcher, your opening in this case would have to do with all of the work you've probably done at UMGC or at another academic institution to show all of the coursework that's trained you to be ready for this, even if you don't have those quote unquote years of experience. You want to use the middle paragraph or paragraphs to highlight specific data and to contextualize it. But I think the sample letter is a good start. And then, of course, your resume is available. You look forward to talking to them further and how to contact you. So that's what I would do. And remember, your draft content can be partially complete. The drafts themselves aren't graded. It's just you want to make sure you have that. So you get feedback on organization and design and contrast and purposeful repetition and all of that so that you're ready for writing assignment 5. And then the beauty is that you leave this class with updated documents. And I have had some students say they found a job. They didn't think they were in the market, but they saw a job that they thought they would be qualified for, and they just took a risk and they actually got an interview, which is really exciting. So even if you're not ready for that job, to be able to practice those processes and be able to use these technical writing tools and techniques to update all of your documentation from the moment that you are ready, well, then I think that this assignment will be wildly successful for you. So I hope that I'm here. I hope that I'll be able to be here to help you with it. All you have to do is reach out and let me know if you have any questions or concerns as you work on writing assignment 5.